Hey guys, JLumbs here, doing another video. This will be in a comparison video for the iPad mini first generation and the Samsung Tab3 8.0 inch tablets. They'll both be competing in the same market, basically the 8-inch tablet market. I believe the initial price when they first came out at launch, I believe the iPad was at about $400, $419 if I can remember correctly, and the Tab 3 was at, I believe, $300 to $330, somewhere around $300 to $330 at launch for both of these tablets. So of course, and we all know that Apple always charges a premium for their products. Whether or not that is something you decide to pay for, that is entirely up to you. I guess that's why I'm making this video, for you guys to help decide which one you want. For the first thing I'm going to be talking about today is the screen between the two display. The Tab 3 Samsung is at 8 inches with a 1280 by 800 resolution with 189 ppi, which is pretty respectable for this price range. The iPad mini is at 7.9 inches with a 1024 by 768 resolution and at 162 pixels per inch. Now, if I were to compare these two just by visual quality, they both look pretty good. Even if you compare the BlackBerry Playbook to these three, the screen quality is really good on this one also, except of course it's a smaller screen size at 7 inches. I believe the BlackBerry Playbook is at 1024 by 600, and the pixels per square inch I believe is actually higher than the mini. I cannot remember what the amount was, but I think it was at 190 or 180 pixels per square inch. But the quality on this one, comparative to these two, are also, like, they're pretty close. But between these two, they're both really good. With the screen and the size, or sorry, the aspect ratio, as you can see here, the iPad mini is at a 4:3 aspect ratio, which for me is good for when you're web browsing, reading. You see more of the screen when you're in the widescreen mode like this. When you're looking at web pages this way, you also get a little bit more width across this way to read more of your, you know, the print that you're trying to read. Yeah. Now, the advantages to having a 16:9 ratio that's on the Samsung Tab here, Tab 3 8.0, is, for example, let's see if I got any movies going on there. No, maybe not. Let's go into YouTube. You get more of the screen filled. But not this. Obviously, this one's a bad example because it's actually set for 4:3 aspect ratio. But in general, when you're watching movies on this type of screen, you get more of a fuller fill with the video, and less of black lines either sides or across this ways. Mostly by 6:9, you're going, there's going to be black lines on the top and bottom. Where if you're using the iPad mini, you'll get less screen fill of the video, and in turn, basically, you're getting smaller, you're getting less of the video size. So, you know, that if that's something that's important to you, just consider that when you're purchasing these two. If you're going to be doing a lot of web browsing, you know, I assume most people are going to be doing both. You know, everyone likes to go on YouTube, and a lot of people like to web surf. So that is one aspect to pay attention to between the two. Next thing I want to talk about is the overall feel of both the tablets. Now, for the iPad, you know, they were notorious for excellent build quality for their items. The backing here is aluminum, brushed aluminum, difference. I believe this is called the space gray color. You know, when you feel it, it just feels very robust. It feels very good, as in for the build quality. For me, when I'm using tablets like this, I like the feel of some kind of texture or roughness. I'll get into it more when I start talking about the Samsung. But you know, holding it doesn't feel like it's going to slide out of your hands or anything like that, or it doesn't feel cheap. You know, it feels like you actually spent some money and your money is well spent. Now for the Samsung, and don't get me wrong, I like the look. I still have the plastic on this guy, but I like the look of the backing, the white, like the diamond coat white color. You know, overall look of the Samsung is nice. The feel is okay. The only thing that I don't like about it is that the texture of it is very slippery, and you can see, talk to other people, even feel them and look at other reviews, and they say it's very slippery. And to be honest with you, when I first started playing with this, when I first got it, I almost dropped it a few times just because it was so slippery. Now, if this had a rougher feel on the backside, I wouldn't have too much of a problem with that, but because of it being so slippery, it just, you know, it just doesn't make me feel confident holding this product. The other thing, because it's plastic, not some sort of a nice aluminum back, it doesn't feel as robust or as expensive feeling as for the build quality. Not saying that it doesn't perform, but it just, as in feel, it doesn't have that same feeling as the iPad. So in that matter, it will be going to the iPad mini for build quality. I did notice sometimes when I'm pushing hard, or if I happen to grab it on the edge and it, you know, slightly twists or something, you can hear some creaking along the edging of this tablet, where I have never heard anything like that on the tablet or on the iPad. The next thing I want to talk about is the OS for both items. Now, this is a big one. The way I see, for people that buy iPads, and I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but the reason most people buy iPads, or the reason why iPads are so popular, is because of the ease of use for the product. You know, and especially nowadays, now that Apple has been out for so long now and dominated the market for so long, who doesn't know how to use an Apple product, right? So in saying that, when people go into the Samsung and they start using the Android system, you know, it seems different. And you know, just because it feels different doesn't mean it's not better or any worse. You just have to get used to it, right? And that's the problem with a lot of Apple users, is that they think one way is the right way, and they don't even have an idea what the other way, like Android, how that works. And if you give it a chance, you'll understand that Android has a more user-friendly operating system due to its customization, where Apple always limits you to what you can do with their products, which, you know, I mean, if you don't use, or if you don't customize, well, yeah, of course it'll do good for you, because you don't use it for anything more than what it is. But a lot of users are power users, or just know what they want in their devices, and that's where the Samsung, or any Android device in general, kind of excel in. You know, the other thing that for me, that I don't like dealing with all the time, is iTunes. I love the fact that when you're using the Samsung, you can just drop and go with files, just back and forth, without having to go through a messy iTunes, wait for that to load, do this, do that, boom, now you can transfer your files. And that's only okay if you know, like if you're doing videos, if it can actually read it. Where Samsung, I haven't come across a video yet that hasn't been able to be read by the Tab3. One of the last other things I want to talk about is the differences in options, I guess. Now, for iPad, we both know that they do have 16 gig models, 32 gig models, and 64 gig models. Same thing with the Samsung. The only difference is that the Samsung can actually have upgradable memory. Now, for me, that's excellent. I mean, you know, most people that have had iPods and tablets, iPads and iPhones and whatnot, space can fill pretty quickly. Now I just want to mention the price, the current price as of 2014. It's the end of January right now, so February 1st of 2014. I checked. This is Canadian, by the way. I checked Best Buy, and the iPad Mini, first gen. Mind you, remember that the second gen is out now. The Retina version. It is at $319.99. That's regular price at Best Buy. And the Samsung Tab3 8.0 is $249.99 at Best Buy right now. So they both dropped in price now that they've been out in the market for almost about a year or so. So when you're looking at the price there, I got my Tab 3 8.0 for a good price just a few months ago for $229. Now at that price, to me, I think that it's very competitive comparative to the iPad at its regular price. I think it was at $419, something like that. I mean, they both have very similar specs. I think I forgot to mention the hardware, as in for the processor. For the Samsung, it has a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor with 1.5 gigabytes worth of RAM. The iPad Mini has a dual-core 1.0 gigahertz processor and only 512 gigabytes worth of RAM. Now, on paper, you can definitely say that the Samsung definitely beats it in processing, in tasks in general. But remember, for these tablets, keep in mind that they do, like, a lot of it depends on the OS, and we know that Apple has focused a lot of time and energy over the years and years to provide a very good operating system for their devices. So in saying that, just because the numbers go with Samsung due to the higher numbers, it doesn't necessarily mean for certain programs that it runs better. I've found that they both run really smooth. If you're just kind of going through you can see that there's no lag, there's no jittering, nothing like that. But I'll tell you the truth in one matter. When I'm dealing with the iPad in almost any situation, when it's just going through its navigation of its menus and stuff, or going through websites and scrolling, as like in this. Let me just zoom in there so you guys can get a better view. Okay. Now you can see how easy it is to scroll, zoom right into the letters, go back to home, scroll to the next page. Okay, and now in Samsung, same thing. Like, it's very smooth. You're tapping, swipe to get into what you need, go into the internet to take a look at a website. I have a lot of pages on there, so that's probably why it's taking so much time here. I've been researching on a lot of different types of things. What is it on right now? Oh, that's right. I just downloaded the new AMD drivers for my 7970s. They just came out with a new patch. Same with Battlefield 4, which is a game I play tremendously. So right here, you can see I'm scrolling. I'm pinching to zoom. You want to see closer into the text. You know, it's very smooth. But as I'm saying, in regards, push home to go back to the screen, home screen. Swipe to the next pages. In these matters, honestly, iPad does have that smoother feel. They've always had that, and I'm never going to take that away from them. Their operating system is really good. Like basically, the way I say it is, you know, iPad's operating system is good at what it does. It doesn't let you do much, but it lets you do what you need, and it does it very well. Where Samsung, it does it, I would say 95% to how iPad is for smoothness and software wise, but it gives you far more options and customizations, which is what a lot of people want. Basically, in conclusion, if I were to pick between these two, it'd pretty much be right in the middle, and this is for me owning both. It's a hard pick. You know, visually they both look really good for what it is. Mind you, remember the Samsung does have a higher pixels per inch and a better resolution. But you know, at this size for me, you can hardly, you know, I can't hardly tell the difference between the two. Samsung does have, like, it does seem to have better colors, but people don't. Some people prefer that. I do. Some people hate oversaturation. I prefer to have a little bit more saturation than the standard. I like how the colors just pop out, and like, especially if we're talking about the Samsung S4, I love how the colors just pop out of this thing. You know, and people say it's oversaturated and whatnot, but you know, I like it. So you know, it's up to user preference. The size of it, to be honest with you, I actually prefer the 4:3 ratio over the 16:9 just in general use, and maybe that's just because I usually use my tablet to read web pages and information and things like that, and I do often YouTube videos and stuff like that. But in general, like when I'm using the Samsung in this mode here, in a sense, it feels like it's a little bit too narrow when you're looking at a website. You know, so let's look at something else here. Like the bike that I'm looking at buying this spring for the summer riding months. It feels like it might be a little bit too compressed this way, but you do see more wording this way. I think like mentioned before, that the 4:3 aspect is, I think, pretty much right on the money for me, for the size of how if you were to read web pages via being it up and down or landscape like this. Yeah, so like again, that's user preference again. You do feel like you get more screen real estate this way. So thanks for watching, guys, and please like and subscribe to JLumbs, and please like my stuff, I guess. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see from me in the future.